Hello, everybody. My name is Benny, and welcome to the Fool's Apprentice. So today is my last lesson with Lisa Papez's Tarot and Training Reels. Training on Tarot Wheels. It's early in the morning. I'm still drinking my coffee. But it's been a long time coming because, I ended up taking like a 6-month break. Doesn't mean that I haven't practicing the tarot or going over Lisa's courses, but today is the last lesson where I get to kind of let you know how it went for me. Things have been actually really good with the lesson, but I'll give you my final synopsis of how the whole lesson went for me, things that I really liked, things that maybe didn't resonate as much. It's really not much, but let me turn the camera upside down and we'll get going to the cards. Okay, I'm back. So the last lesson deals with the court cards, which for me can be very confusing because there are 4 pages, 4 knights, 4 queens, and 4 kings. And really keeping them all, individualized where I could see them in my mind, where I can recall the information, is really challenging. But I'm hoping with Lisa's course and the key words that she used, which I agree with, will help me along the way in this journey learning the tarot cards. So the first cards, we're dealing with the wands. And the wands deal with fire, and they deal with passion, transformation, spirituality, new ideas, action, creativity, those kinds of things. And the Princess of Wands really talks about, Lisa talks about curiosity as being the main word. And I can tell you, with all the court cards, I think this is the first lesson where I really agree with all of the key words. And when I say agree, they resonate with me. Except there's one word in the whole court cards that kind of I think I may have problems with, and it's because it's a word I don't use very often. But the Page of Wands really deals with like fearlessness, new and interesting things, things with adventure. And so curiosity seems to work really well for me. And I like that the fact that she's on a path and she's like moving forward with her staff, which kind of is letting me know that this adventure she's going on is probably going to be a long one. Okay, the Prince of Wands. I really like the idea that for Brave with the Prince of Wands, or I'm sorry, the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands really deals with the extremes of the wands. It's like willing to take risks, and of course, if you're willing to take risk, you got to be brave. You got to be okay with whatever the outcome's going to be. And so you could see this guy is charging forward. He's got his staff in the ready position. Looks like he's going to be in a joust. It looks like the horse is in full force. He's got little specks of dirt right here, coming off his hooves, which kind of tells me he's like galloping forward. And this is the word that I was talking about, with the Queen of Wands, sovereign. Sovereign isn't really a word that I use very often. Frankly, I don't know when the last time if I've ever used it. But, it's really about this, because when I see this card, I see a very confident woman. Even like her facial expressions, the way she's looking forward, she's very open. Her legs have a really strong stance in the ground. Her shoulders up and back. She's holding on to this wand, like with authority. And so I even had to look up the definition of sovereign. And this is what this woman is, just a very confident woman within her power, has no issues in making decisions, speaking her mind. So sovereign really works for me with this card. She's just all powerful. And then the King of Wands. He has a very similar stance. He's, that he is in control. And this is the kind, Lisa likes the word inspiring for this, which I agree. This is the kind, again, the kind of man that other men admire and want to be, and the kind of man that women want to be with. This is the kind of guy that could really lead people into battle, that could lead people into whatever goal that he wants, because he has the knowledge and the words to be able to inspire people. So that actually works really well for me. Now we're dealing with the swords. And the swords really is the suit of air, which really deals with the mind, intellect, communication, rational decision making. And for this card, Lisa really likes the word inquisitive, which I think goes really well because to be inquisitive, you really, it's this idea of you're thinking, you're asking questions, you're analyzing. And that's really a part of being inquisitive. Um, and this is, I think I said the queen. This is the prince, says of swords. It's early in the morning. You gotta excuse my speech. So the princess of swords. She's curious. She's one to learn, which I was talking about, being analyzing and asking questions and finding answers to that. So that works. Now the prince of swords. Impulsive is the word that Lisa uses. And this is a guy that just moves forward. He has an idea and he really doesn't think it through. He just like charges forward, as you can see in the picture. And he, like, the horse has his head down, which is just letting me know that, we're going to go forward no matter what. And the knight really deals with, forcefulness and confidence. Because if you're impulsive, there's a sense of confidence within you that you feel that you can accomplish anything. Now, the Queen of Swords, honest is the word that she used, and I like this word, specifically for this Queen of Swords. She's a very intelligent woman. She's hardworking. That's how she got there. She didn't get there because she was wishy-washy. She must have been very clear in her speech. I find this woman to be kind of very blunt in her speech. So, when it comes to being honest, it isn't always really necessarily saying the nicest things. It's about really speaking your truth, regardless of how the other person hears it on the other side. Now, I personally think when it comes to honesty, you could be tactful, but I don't necessarily think this queen is. I think she's just a very blunt, straightforward kind of woman. Now, we got the King of Swords. Lisa uses strategic, which I think is a really, really good one. I like the fact that he's got his hand on his face. It's like he's pondering something. He's a very logical kind of king. He thinks things through before he takes action. He's very clear on what he wants to say. He analyzes a lot. He's probably intellectualizes everything. So strategic, I think, works really well. It's like playing chess. You got to think about it before you start making decisions, and you probably have to think 2 or 3 steps ahead. Now, when it comes to the cups, we're dealing with water and the sense of emotions, relationships, feelings, creativity. And for the Princess of Cups, the word idealistic is what Lisa chose, which I think is good. This I have no issues with it. She's a dreamer. She's very optimistic. She may be naive. She's able to see the glass is half full. She's able to see the bright side of things. And so being very idealistic as this queen, I think, works perfectly. Now we come to the Prince of Cups. And when I think of the Prince of Cups, she used the word charming, and right off the bat, I thought of Prince Charming from the stories, the fairy tales. And the Prince of Cups deals with I'm actually thinking, did I get lost? No, this is okay. See, because they have different titles, it throws me for a loop. So this is actually, it is the Prince of Cups in this deck, but it's the Knight of Cups. So the Knight of Cups is very charming, and he's about winning people over, schmoozing people, trying to get women to fall in love with him. He's the kind of guy that believes in his own dreams and goes after them. So the Knight of Cups charming works. And here he's like giving a toast, trying to probably manipulate the situation in a way where he can get what he needs. Now we got the Queen of Cups, dealing with emotions. Loving is a feeling. It is something that comes from within. She really cares about other people. She's compassionate. I think that this queen has a high level of emotional intelligence. She's able to identify the feelings that she has. But I think with this queen, she's really able to scan the room, kind of feel where people are at. But when she's interacting with people, I think she has really good intuition in kind of figuring out what people are feeling and where they're at. So loving really works with her for me as well. Now, when it comes to the King of Cups, Lisa says he's a very wise king. This guy is very calm in his decision making because he's aware of his emotions, and he knows regardless of what the situation is, he needs to remain calm. That way he can think clearly and make decisions clearly. He's very stable. You don't see this guy kind of, going half-cocked, going off on people. He's very diplomatic. He thinks. He doesn't take sides. And, he's generally a kind king. And now we got the Princess of Pentacles, which is the page. And this one deals with earth and material things that here on earth. And Princess Pentacles, I like this title. I think fits perfectly the word that she picked, which was studious, because if you look at her, she's really analyzing the pentacle. It's like if she had a book in front of her, she would be reading something or studying something. You can tell that she's really, really focused, probably trying to figure out what's being said. And so she's like very practical. She has probably very realistic goals. She's very patient. And when you're someone that's learning things, you have to be patient until you actually can digest the information and it becomes a part of you. Now we come to the king. The knight. Oh my gosh. The knight of Pentacles. Here it's the prince, and she uses dependable. And I think dependable works. This guy's very practical. He's realistic. He has goals, but he's very patient on his goals. Here he's got his shield up. He's not moving forward. He's making sure that he's analyzing everything before he makes a decision. And so I like dependable. Now we got the Queen of Pentacles. Again, we got comforting. Here, she's like a earth mother. She's very sensitive to other people's needs. She really cares about other people. She's very nourishing. She's like a grandma that when you go over, she knows that you're coming. She already has a full meal for you. She wants you to eat. You could have just eaten. You let her know that you're full and you're not hungry, but she's gonna put a plate in front of you anyway, because that's her way of loving you. So that's how I see this queen. And finally, we come to the King of Pentacles, and this king, Lisa wrote knowledgeable. This is a guy, he's a family man. He's probably the matriarch of his family. He's very reliable. And this gentleman seems to be much older than the rest. You see his hair receding. He's got gray in his beard. You could tell that this man has lived a life. You can tell that he's very relaxed. You know, his arm is very relaxed, his hand is relaxed. He doesn't really have a tight fist. His arm's open, he has one leg out. You know, this guy is just laying back, just very cool. Nothing's gonna bother him. And he's the guy you will go to for some advice. And again, um, I think this particular group of cards are going to be the most challenging for me. Um, Now, Lisa did come up with some homework that I think are a good idea. Uh, Let me move this. A good idea. So, some of the homework, I mean, she had a lot of suggestions. She had like, let's see, I actually wrote them down because there were so many. She has eight, 9 suggestions for homework. So she has just use the cards for a while, get familiar with the word and the card, and really just take the imagery in with the words. She suggests that for other decks you have, you know, look at the cards side by side, see what's similar, see what's different, see what's in the background, and get accustomed to the words with the imagery, even in all cards. And I love this particular idea. I watch a lot of deck walkthroughs on YouTube from various YouTubers. And she said, well, while you're watching those decks being reviewed, bring your cards out. This is another way of learning. Just bring your card out. You know, the more you're exposed to the words and the cards, the more you'll learn. But also you could compare and contrast these cards to what you're viewing on YouTube. She says, use them until they've become part of you. They're ingrained so much that you don't need the cards. And part of me doesn't want to do that because I want to use my other cards. I get bored very easy. That's why I have so many decks, because I like to be stimulated very. And you know, one of the things that I do is I change my decks every 3 days, just to keep things fresh for me. And then she, like I said, she has several more. Just go watch the lessons. She has several more that I think would benefit. And I don't know if I'll do all of them, but I know I'll do some. So let me flip the camera over again. In fact, I should have done that when I did when I finished the deck. So just give me one moment. Okay, so overall, I think this was invaluable for learning the lessons. And I'm looking at my notes here because there are several. I don't want to forget anything. Particularly this one, talking about this lesson. Like the last lesson, one of the things that she did not do was really emphasize finding your own keywords for the cards. By this point, we already know that, you know, that's an option for us. And like I said, it's the first one of all the lessons where I didn't change not one word. I understood every one. Sovereign's going to be a hard word for me to remember. I probably will always go back to all powerful and confident, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to remember that. There were certain I wish I would have written it down. There were certain cards where she really emphasized, like, this word really works well with this card. And so even if I probably would have not resonated, I probably would have kept that word because of how she emphasized that pairing of the word and the card. Again, you know, one of the things that I like is sometimes you watch a YouTube video, like my early ones, and you can be distracted by something. Maybe the poor quality of the video. Like some of my videos, I'm like red, like I got sunburned. That could be very distracting. Maybe noise in the background, maybe choppy, audio. And when I'm watching her videos, none of that is happening. So it's just really easy for me to stay focused and not get distracted so easily. So I really appreciate that. And through the whole lessons, one of the things that, and you can tell that Lisa loves the tarot. Her enthusiasm through each and every lesson is the same. You know, there are moments where she gets a lot more excited, but I think it's just because she loves her craft so much. And that's very, very infectious. Uh, she's like, you know, that friend that really wants you to do well, that friend that shows up at your college graduation, that shows up for any birthday parties. You know, she's that friend when it comes to being a YouTuber on screen. And I really appreciate that because I really do feel that she wants me to learn the tarot. She really wants me to be invested. She really wants me to, you know, develop a craft that I feel confident in. So that is something I really, really appreciate, which I'm probably saying way too many times. um, and, you know, when it comes to the overall lessons, I will tell you I learned a lot. Some of these cards I wouldn't know how to even describe it, and then she really provided me good descriptors that really helped me kind of visualize the card. And like I've mentioned before, I have a very vivid mind, and so like I'm talking to you, I can envision the Two of Wands and how he's standing there looking over um, into the world and contemplating, you know, what he wants to do with this inspiration that happened in the Ace of Wands. You know, kind of analyzing his thoughts and kind of formulating a clear idea before he moves to the Three of Wands where he takes action. And that really, really helps. And I had throughout all of it, I had a lot of confidence in her knowledge of the tarot. So there were no doubts, no questions in her ability to teach me. And having gone to school, I get that sense when a professor like really knows the knowledge compared to a professor that is trying to figure it out, is reading from the book, and I don't necessarily have the confidence with that type of teaching, but that wasn't the case with Lisa at all. I knew everything that she said in the videos, I could take. And this really, she gave me enough information to where I can actually start reading with it. Especially if I use these cards and I put them out. Let's see. Let me pull two cards out. So I have the Page of Pentacles, which is studious. And then I have the King of Swords, which is strategic. Well, and let's say, how do I handle this new duty that my boss gave me? Well, it's very clearly letting me know that I'm going to have to study and take the time to figure out what I need to do. Like, what components need to be taken into consideration and in what order. And then what I have to do is I have to be very strategic in making sure that everybody's doing their part, making sure that, you know, step number one precedes step number two, and that number two builds on step number one, which leads to step number three. So, you know, that really, I mean, just that alone really shows me that these words really help. I'm a fan. I am an absolute fan of Lisa Papez and her channel. Well, I really suggest if you're new, even if you're not new, go through the lessons. You will pick up pieces of each card that maybe you didn't think of. You know, she's really good in explaining the cards in a way that's really, really easy to digest. So I hope that these reviews of the lessons were helpful. I cannot encourage people enough to take this. And with that, thank you for coming by. I am the Fool's Apprentice. And until next time, have a nice day.